All right, here we are. Thank you so much for coming today to get yourself solid. And so the whole point of this hour-long session is to just like get us really solid on our inside, because we all have stuff falling apart all the time. It is just the nature of life, right? And so these are tips that have really helped me this past year and a half through my divorce. And even before that, when I had small children and I just didn't have a lot of time for myself. And so these are things that we can use throughout our days, our weeks, our years that will really get us rock solid and ensure that we are always feeling steady within ourselves, no matter what is happening. So let me see if I can figure out. Okay. And then I'm admitting people to the waiting room. So hopefully that works for them. How am I supposed to turn the slide? Oh, here we go. Thanks for being my testing group, you guys. Okay. So why do we need to get ourselves solid? It's because we can't control the outside world, as we know. And then I'm not going to be able to see my own notes because my little bar is in the way. Hi, Amber. Thanks for joining us. I'm going to mute you, okay? And then feel free, I just told the girls to feel free to put your questions in the chats, and then we're going to have time at the end to go over questions. But if you're like me, you think of things, and then if you don't write them down, you can't remember what they were. So feel free to write them in the chat as we go, okay? Okay, so why we're going to get ourselves solid is because life is, and it always will be, a little nuts. So people die, right? Our close family members, our close friends, we get divorces, things happen with our children, we lose jobs, we quit jobs, we have health stuff come up. It's always going to happen. So if we can get ourselves solid and secure with us and know how to get back on track into the right, stable, strong, steady place, it doesn't really matter what happens outside of us. We learn to accept the fact that everything is happening for us, to grow us, to teach us, to show us things in some way, okay? And how we handle these things determines our happiness. So we also want to make sure we're not codependent in our relationships and relying on other people to fulfill us, okay? I knew the word codependent, but it wasn't until I was divorced did I actually have this aha of, holy shit, I think I was codependent there, because I was assuming that this other person would, I don't want to say make me happy, but just when they are there, you have these certain expectations and you just fall into these certain habits and you feel like this invisible base is there. And then when it's pulled out from under you, you realize a lot of things, right? And so we just want to make sure, no matter what our relationship status is, if we're married, if we're single, it doesn't matter. We want to make sure we are good with us, because when we're good with us, then our relationships reflect that too, right? Okay. So here's what we're going to do for the next hour. Hi, welcome. Here we are, number one. And then we're going to breathe next, coming up. So we're all centered, grounded, in the zone. And then I'm going to talk a little about me and why I do this crazy stuff and talking to you at noon on a Tuesday. And then I'll give you the hot tips that we have. This is why you're here. This is the main event. And then I'm going to tell you about some exciting stuff I have coming up and a little gift for you. And then we'll answer questions at the end. So that is the agenda. Just want to give you a heads up on that. So now we're going to breathe. So whatever has happened the rest of the day, I just want you to take all of that, put it in a jar, put it on the shelf. We can get back to that later, or you can erase it. Some of it you don't even need. So we're just going to take all of that and put it away for now, okay? Because right now we're just going to focus on being here. That's it. We are here. We're together. We're learning stuff. We're looking at these beautiful trees on our screen, and we're just going to be calm, okay? So if everybody can just close their eyes where they're at, put your hands on your legs. I like to do mine facing down if I want to ground, if I want to be calm and centered, and then palms facing up if you'd like to gather more energy in, if you'd like to receive. And then just take a deep breath in through your nose. And hold this at the top. So imagine a ball of air swirling around the top of your head. And we're just going to hold that breath there for a second. And then let it out your mouth. And as you let the air out, just imagine it going down your spine, and imagine the bottom of your spine growing into tree trunks, like you see on the screen, these big tall pines. Just imagine the tree trunks growing out your spine and out the bottom of your feet. And we're going to breathe in again through your nose. Hold it at the top. And breathe out your mouth. And imagine those tree trunks growing into the earth. Another time, in through your nose. Hold it at the top. And then out your mouth. And keep breathing on your own for a few seconds here. Just deep breaths in and deep breaths out. And remember, it is just safe to be here right now. Nothing else matters right now. This is you focusing on you. You're doing the right thing. You're in the right place. There's nowhere else to go. And feel your hip bones on your seat. And feel your feet on the ground. Take another deep breath in. And blow it all out. And then you're ready. When you're ready, you can wiggle your fingers and you can wiggle your toes. And you can come back to the room. All right, welcome back. Hi, Lulu. I'm just muting you right now because I see you're at work. You are so wonderful. If you have any questions, we're breathing for a minute. So sorry if I took a minute to let you in. Type them in the chat and then we'll go over the questions at the end, okay? Okay. All right, so hopefully everybody feels a little more centered now. I know I do. All right, so my story. So a lot of you know me and some of you don't maybe know my story, but basically I have kind of been healing unintentionally my whole entire life. I've always been looking for ways to feel better, to be better. I've always been super into personal development. Like I remember one of my mom's first books that she talked to me about was the 7 highly effective habits of, or the 7 habits of highly effective people, like Stephen Covey. And I don't know, that's always just really fascinated me. And so I wouldn't say that I've always been conscious. I haven't always known I was doing this. There's obvious large periods of my life where I was numbing out and I was coping in very unhealthy ways, you know, drinking, drugs, partying, just overactive in sports and exercise and all these things. But I had some very rude wake-up calls throughout my life, as I'm sure most of you had as well. One of the first ones I'd say was in my mid-20s, my diagnosis of my autoimmune diseases. And so I thought I was super healthy. I thought I was doing all the right things, but it turns out I wasn't. And all the years of trashing my body and eating disorders and all of the things and partying too much, like that took a big, big toll, and the stress, not to mention. So my adrenals were shot. I had to completely think of new ways to do things. And this was for my health. And this totally opened my eyes to a lot of different things in the health industry, in the food industry, all of the things. And then at the same time, actually, my father passed away. So he was only 59 years old. And I'm sure, as you can imagine, that's just like completely earth shattering, right? Just somebody in their 50s gone overnight. And so, and then most recently, my divorce, which was a 1.5 years ago. And so this shook me to my core as well. But I have learned in the best ways that this is all of it has happened for me, because I've learned so much through all of these periods, that all these things that have come out of it and made me a stronger person and made me a better person and really made me analyze the way I was doing things and the way I was thinking about things. So I want to share with you now these tools that I've used since becoming a mother, like I said. So even when I had 2 small children, babies, toddlers crawling all over me, waking up at 5 a.m. or whatever time babies wake up, not sleeping through the night, the world going to total chaos and going through loss and divorce. So this is why I share this with you today, is because these are the things that really work through all of the life's shit. So the first thing we're going to talk about, I've got to figure out where to put my bar. So can you see where I have my video bar or no? Okay. So it's not covering up the title or anything. Okay. Thank you. I'm new at this and trying to figure this all out. Okay. So our nervous system is our number one. Thanks, Angela. Is our number one. Well, it's our number one tip for today, but it's also like one of the things that we really, really need to focus on because, well, I'll tell you why here in a second, but let's talk about what the nervous system is first. So there was 3 different stages in our evolution of the development of the nervous system. So the oldest is like 500 million years old. And this is our dorsal state. So this is collapse, shock, immobilization, when there is big danger. So like cavemen and, all of these things, like major danger, life-threatening danger coming at us. So you literally, playing dead was like the option because you could literally only freeze and that was it. And then the second stage is sympathetic and it's activated and it's also called fight or flight, which I know a lot of you have obviously heard of. And so basically, if you can think of a time when you were super, super scared at something in your life and you couldn't move, you were totally frozen. A guy stole my car in 2020 and I saw him do it from my garage. I watched this person and the next day, he was at my gym and I froze because he had my keys still. And all of a sudden I thought, oh my God, this guy is stalking me. This is worse than I thought. And I froze. My body froze. My legs could not move. And so that was the dorsal state. I was in the dorsal state. Like, I didn't know what to do. Like I couldn't literally feel my legs. And then after talking to my close friends that were standing by me, I finally got into the fight or flight mode and I was able to walk myself back into the building and tell them to call the cops and stuff like that. So it's just picturing where you're at in these certain stages. Okay. And then the third one, this is our goal. This is where we want to be, is social engagement system. And then this is when we are highly functioning. We are self-aware. We have these social actions. Our frontal cortex is at full capacity. So we're actually thinking clearly. Okay. We don't feel threatened. We feel relaxed. We feel in flow. We feel love and we feel safe and regulated. So this is our goal. Obviously, this is not always happening, right? With our crazy world today, we are literally kind of programmed to go from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. So we are often in that activated state, right? We don't have time in between activities to process stuff. So a lot of times think of when you like lose your keys and you're late for a meeting or something like that. And you're rushing around everywhere. You're looking for them everywhere and you can't think straight because your frontal cortex isn't activated. You're in that mode. You're in that panic mode. Okay. And so when we operate out of that, things are not ideal. And obviously our trauma, our past traumas, current traumas affect how we feel with our nervous system, affects our nervous system and how it actually works. So our natural patterns of connection are replaced with patterns for protection. So we are intrinsically trying to protect ourselves and we kind of become wired for threats. Sometimes we're scanning our environment for cues of unsafety and danger. And we're just like on the ready, like we're primed for reaction. Okay. So think of if you live alone or if you are alone for the night and you're kind of like, what was that? What was that? I think of my son when we're out camping, he's like, oh, what was that? I'm like, that was a twig. It's fine. But his nervous system is in that reaction mode, excuse me. So if we have unresolved trauma, it can feel as though we're always in constant state of hypervigilance, ready to move into fight or flight all the time. We might also be regularly in states of shutdown, feeling physically and emotionally collapsed or even disassociated. Like we're walking around, but we're spaced out or feeling like out of our body. And so this is why at the very beginning, I put you in your body we're breathing. And so when you're breathing, and you know where you are. You can feel your body, you can feel your legs, you can feel your hands, you can feel your breath going up and down your spine. You are in your body. So you are out of the trauma response. Okay. So we're back in, we're not disassociated with our body, because a lot of times when we're acting in this, with this trauma response, we're just kind of floating around and we're just doing the things, and we're like always on the defense. So we want to be in our body to be calm. When we're triggered, we could unconsciously go into collapse or fight or flight. Like I said, there's no capacity to solving problems. You can't find your keys. You can't figure out, I was trying to frantically send this email with the link right before this. And I was like, I caught myself for a minute too. Like I couldn't think straight. I'm like, dude, this is easy. Like you've done this several times. It's okay. I literally had to breathe for a second just to put myself into that state of where I could think clearly. You might feel hopeless, like you have low energy and you can't act. You might feel nervous, restless, and this affects your entire life quality. It affects all your interactions with people. And often we act this way out of fear. And so this lowers the vibration of your body, of your energy, and everything you are putting out into the world. So this is how we help our nervous system. So just noticing your state is a big one. Okay. Just having this awareness. Maybe you're driving from place to place and you feel that fight or flight, you feel activated. So just noticing, oh, this is where I am right now, and not making any judgments about it, because you know what? Having compassion for ourselves is like the most self-loving thing we can do. This happens to every single one of us. Your body is just scared, and it's a totally natural response for it to act this way, for it to feel this way. So just make sure you're having compassion for yourself and just noticing like, okay, this is where I am right now. All right. Got it. Check. And then the next thing would be to get in your body. So like we just did, like I said at the beginning, we're breathing. You're noticing. If you're driving, for instance, if you're in maybe a crowded room and you don't have time to stand there with your eyes closed and breathe, just notice. Notice your feet on the floor and notice how they feel. Maybe notice how your sweater feels on your skin, or the breeze feels on your face. But coming into contact with these 5 senses of ours, notice how something smells or what sound you're hearing at the moment. This will automatically put you back into your body. And then this sounds really silly, but just giving yourself signs of safety, like looking around the room. So if you feel scared and you literally look around the room, so you look to the left and you look to the right and you literally tell yourself, I'm not in danger. I am okay. And it doesn't even have to be scared from like an intruder or anything like that, but it's just that fight or flight mode where maybe you have too many emails, maybe you're freaking out about something at work, and then you just notice, hey, you know what? I'm actually safe right now. All of this stuff is okay. I will get to this. This will all make sense, but I'm safe and I can feel good right now. And so we are basically just learning to reparent ourselves, because a lot of this stuff, like I said, is from trauma, from growing up. And so this is just telling our inner child that we are safe. So we're learning to soothe ourselves. And a good way to do this is to massage your hands too. So reflexology, right? We have all of these trigger points in our entire body, all in our hands and our feet. So something really discreet you can do at any time, sitting at your desk or anything, is just to massage your hands. And this will do a couple things. This will put you in your body. And this will also release some of the tension that your body is feeling. So one of my favorite points I like to push is right here. It's like that really meaty part between your thumb and your finger. And this reduces head tension. And if you do that, you might notice it's really sore. Mine is really sore because a lot of times they're really overworked, and we don't, like, how often do you actually release the muscles in your hands, right? It's very, very underrated. And so that's something simple that you can do. And then just breathing like we did at the beginning. And I really like box breathing. So that box breathing, if you've never heard of that, just think of a box. So it's breathe in. You can do this for as many counts as you like, but for this example, I'll use 4 counts. So you breathe in for 4 counts. You hold it for 4 counts. You breathe out for 4 counts and you hold that for 4 counts. So it's inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold, exhale, hold. This gets you focused on your breath. This gets you back into your body, and this gets you out of the fight or flight mode. And then the last thing I really like to do is, it's called legs up the wall. It's a yoga pose, but you don't have to be doing yoga to do it. You literally slide your butt up to the wall, laying on a floor or a bed. And then you put your legs up the wall, like 90 degrees. So you are literally like this. Here's your body, here's your legs, feet up the wall. And then stay there for as long as you can. And this gets the blood circulating in a different direction. And this soothes your entire nervous system. So this is a great practice to do literally every night before bed. I like to do this in the afternoon sometimes if I'm feeling really overwhelmed or tired, and it just gives you a little bit more of that energy. It calms you down. It's really great to regulate your nervous system. Okay, number 2. So let's talk about our daily routine. So some of you ladies know how important the daily routine is. I hope you all do, but this will solidify it if you don't. So how you start and end your day, each day matters. You're literally wiring your brain for either the same thoughts every day. So if you wake up thinking the same things from the day before, doing the same things, all in the same amount, whatever, you're repeating the same thing from the day before. So we can reprogram this. So the first and the last thing is basically you're solidifying your neural pathways in your brain. So you're either setting yourself up for success or you're setting yourself up for failure. So setting yourself up for success is showing your nervous system you are safe, as we just mentioned. So a great way to do this, well, I'll tell you the tips in a minute here, but past research has shown that a consistent morning routine can reduce stress, boost your energy levels, and improve your productivity at work. And it shows that you value yourself. You know, I just had a friend the other day. She called me and she's like, I'm so overwhelmed. It's football season. All her boys are in football. Her husband's coaching, all this stuff. And I said, how's your morning routine? And she's like, yeah, I'm not doing it. I'm like, well, there you go, sister. There's something to work on, because she's not valuing herself. She's not carving out the time for herself. And it's showing other people that her time doesn't matter either, because if we are setting that example, like, hey, guess what? This is my time. I need this 20 minutes to me, and then I can attend to you and the rest of the family. It's showing healthy boundaries, and it's showing that you really prioritize yourself. Okay. So how the heck do we do this? Like, we're so busy, but just, if you don't do anything right now, basically, if you're like, yeah, I don't do that, start small, start with 5 minutes, like wake up 5 minutes earlier, or just don't even talk to anybody for 5 whole minutes. When you first get up, you create the time. You create the time, because once you create the time, you will notice you will create more time. And it's just magic how that works. So do things you love and that make you feel good. So if you're like not a runner, you're not interested in working out, you're not, I don't know, you know what I mean? Pick something that's your style. You can pick something that you want to grow with, that you want to try something new, but also just don't pick something that you hate. That makes sense, right? You don't like kale? Well, don't make kale smoothies every day. That's fine. My typical routine is, so right now I've switched it up. I've switched up the duration. I've switched up the order of things. Sometimes I drop things out. It depends on what's working for me, and it depends what I'm really focusing on at the time. So right now I really enjoy working out first thing in the morning. It just gets me moving. It gets my energy moving. It gets me in a more positive head place. I get the endorphins going, and it's something I can check off, right? Like, it feels good. Like, boom, my workout's done. So I really enjoy doing a workout. And then I meditate. I do a little quick journaling session, and then that's it. And then I might shower and do breakfast and all the things in whatever order. It's funny, because I was just like trying to Google some stats and stuff on morning routines real quick before this. And they were like, a lot of people consider their morning routines like turning on the news. You know, here's some morning routines: turning on the news, scrolling social media, making yourself coffee. And I'm thinking to myself, no wonder everyone is so stressed out. Like, that's not a morning routine. And if it is for you, no shame whatsoever. But the whole intention of this morning routine, I guess the specific one I'm talking about, is to get your internal world right before you have all the influence from the external. So if we're picking up our phone and scrolling right away, we're immediately getting these other people's influences, right? We're not strong, stable, steady on our own first. We're letting the outside world dictate how we feel. Okay. And I'm not saying nothing because I've definitely done that a time or two, but I notice how I feel when I do that versus how I feel when I actually put myself first. So one awesome habit that I have really, I notice the productivity in my day. I notice how I feel so much better is if I put off my social media until after like noon. I feel really good. That's just me. But other ideas are, prayer. I know a lot of people do devotions. Meditating, like I said, I love to meditate. That's definitely important to me, even if it's just for a few minutes. You don't have to go into a 30-minute gong session by any means. You can, but even a few minutes is really great for meditating. Stretching is great. This moves the energy too. Walking outside, that's a very awesome thing to do right away in the morning if you can, like literally just get up and put on your shoes and go. That feels really good to be in nature right away. Or reading a few pages from an inspiring book is nice too. Like we said, try not to let the external in quite yet. Oh yes. And then I am big on journaling. I've always been big on journaling. I don't know. I've always loved to write. It's always been a thing for me. So I have some journaling options on my website. If you're interested in, if you're like, I don't know what to write about, Lauren, I don't know. I've got a journal prompt page if you're interested in that, and a journal my mentor and I wrote together. So I love to journal. If you ever need help, let me know. I like to send out journal prompts in my emails once in a while too. So if you ever get stuck on that, because side note, journaling sometimes is, if you're writing that, I used to do this for years and years and years. I used to write what is pissing me off, what is going on that I'm not happy about, just to get it out of my body, which is great. But I wasn't going into tip number 3, which is creation mode. I wasn't like setting the vision for what I wanted to actually happen. I was just more venting on what is happening. And when we're focusing on what is happening, we get more of the same. So this is what I've learned the past few years, is to get into creation mode and write things how you actually want them to be, or notice like the abundance and what you have gratitude for right now will automatically elevate your mood instead of just noticing what is. Okay, tip number 3 is creation mode. This is like my favorite. And this is just like time to dream. What do you want next out of your life? What do you want to create? What do you want to create now? We get so stuck in our ways, like this is how it is. This is what I'm doing. And then I'll do this and this and this at this and this and this time, or this and this year. And it's like, no, screw that. You actually get to create this however you want. What do you want to do? How do you want to feel? So I believe in manifestation, and I also believe in divine timing, and I believe in God, and that I feel like he's got his will and his way. But I believe in both. I believe that we are given these messages, these divine messages, and then it's our job to carry them out. Like we have free will to say, no, I'm not going to do that. No, I'm too scared. No, that doesn't sound right. That sounds too risky. But I feel we're not fulfilling our purpose here if we're not doing those things. If we're not stepping into creation mode, then we're just a passive observer. And literally, I see this so much, especially like with religion. It's like, we'll see what God has to do. It's like, yes, and you get a say. Like, yes, and are you listening to those messages from him or from your creator, from whoever is your highest? For me, it's God. But like, I could literally just play dead. After my divorce, I could literally just say, you know what? We'll see. We'll see what the will is. But instead, I decided to, how do I want this to go? How do I want my life to go? How do I want to feel? What do I want to do next? What do I want to experience next? And then it was like, God, angels, show me the way. Show me the way. And they're like, go have coffee with Julie. She's got an amazing house for you. They didn't tell me that, but they said, go have coffee with Julie. And then this turns into an amazing house for me where I've been the past year and a half. Like, couldn't be better, So if you're listening to the signs, Yes, it's all big and divine, but like your feet have to carry you there. So where your focus goes, energy flows. Focus on what you do want and how you do want to feel. You are not stuck. You are not stuck. If you feel stuck, it's because you're choosing to. It's because you choose to feel stuck. You do not have to be. This is your choice. So this is how you get to write your next chapter is decide. Decide what you want. Get clear. What do you want? So write down, this is a good little journaling exercise to do, is to write down what you want in each area. Your relationship, your career, your body, your health, your lifestyle, your family, financially, spiritually. And how do you want to feel in each area? You know, we can say we want a certain amount of money each month and all of these things, and that's fine and well and good. And yes, and it's great to create goals. A lot of times it turns out differently than we have planned, right? But at the same time, it gives you something to aim for. It gives you a vision. And, but I notice that the feeling, focusing on the feeling is the most important part. It's not necessarily the dollar amount. It's not necessarily the relationship with the specific person. It's how do you want to feel inside of that? How do you just want to feel loved? You just want to feel supported. You just want to feel understood. So give those things to yourself first. And when we give those things to ourselves first, then we realize it's not the other person, it's our overall feeling. And then you ask for inspired guidance each day and take those steps. Fight or flight. And then we bust limiting beliefs along the way. These are just lies from the devil. So the limiting beliefs are, you know, these thoughts and these stories inside of our head that we're not good enough, we're not smart enough, we're not ready yet, you don't deserve a relationship like this, you're never going to make that amount of money. It's all just a bunch of bullshit. It's not true. And the faster that you can debunk these limiting beliefs, the faster you're going to be on track to getting what you actually want and actually how you actually want to feel and what you actually came here on earth to do. So how you bust limiting beliefs is you look at them. You notice, okay, this is coming up for me. Like that's a big limiting belief. A big limiting belief is, you know, XYZ, that my husband and I cannot work this out. Well, that's a limiting belief. Why do you feel this way? And you ask yourself, is this ultimately true? The answer is always no, this is not ultimately true. And what do you want to be true instead? So ask yourself what you want to be true instead. Because you get to plan this, like you get to create this. And like I said, the most important creation is how you feel. So how you want to feel. You want to feel sexy inside your relationship? Okay, go feel sexy on your own. Figure out how to do that. And then when you feel these things from the inside, that your partner, your relationship, the other people in your life, that will reflect back to you. Because we have to feel, the whole point of this talk is because we have to feel these ways first on our own. Okay. I was waiting for my husband to understand me. I was waiting him to like emotionally support me. He, you know, said he supported me with my entrepreneurial stuff and everything, but he's like, okay, I'll take the kids to the park so you can work. And then, you know, it wasn't like, I could feel the energy was not like, yeah, good for you. It wasn't that supportive. It was like, he thought just by going through the motions, he thought he was giving me the support, but he wasn't energetically, he wasn't emotionally, right? And I wanted that from him so bad. I wanted him to believe in me. I wanted him to understand me. I wanted him to see the vision that I had, but he didn't. And that's because I was wavering in my own belief and I was wavering in my own vision. I mean, I guess I still had the vision, but I was like, I had those doubts. I had those limiting beliefs. Like, I don't know if I can actually pull this off. I don't know if I can actually do this. And so of course he's mirroring to me all of those doubts and those disbeliefs. Of course he's not that supportive because I wasn't like that on fire about it. So we have to get solid with ourselves first if we are expecting anybody around us to get on board with us. And to be honest with you, this is what ultimately happened with me, is that if they're not getting on board with you, it might just because it's not aligned anymore. And learning to be okay with that too. That's just part of it, right? That's part of our journeys, is that we come into each other's lives and sometimes we learn our lessons and we have to part ways. And that's what ultimately happened with me. But, we all have to make the decision on what's right for us and be honest with ourselves. That's the hardest part, is to be brutally honest with ourselves. So write out what your next chapter is. I want to hear from you guys, what your relationship, career, body, maybe put in the chat. Like, do you have any really good feelings that you want to feel about any of these areas that you want to share? Like, how do you want your career to feel? How do you want your body to feel? Or was there a certain time in your life where you were really onto these goals? You're like, yeah, I really want my health to feel amazing. So you started doing certain things, and then before you know it, you felt that way. If you feel any of those things, put them in the chat. I know at one point, Tara, I'm just going to use her for fun, she was not so happy in her job, and then the universe forced it out, and now she's walking dogs on a Tuesday at noon outside. She literally just said to us on another call the other day, whoop, whoop, that she wished she could be outside like all of us ladies, because like some of us were outside zooming and from our homes and whatever. And she said, I wish I could be doing that. And she's like in a cubicle, and now look at her. Look at you. You wanted the freedom, and look at what you got. But that's part of it, right? It's like she didn't leave her job intentionally. She wasn't happy in it, but then it forced her out, and look at her now. And so we can't plan this stuff. We can pretend to, we can try to, but how do we want to feel is the ultimate. How do we want to feel? So she wants to feel free. She wants to feel outside on a Tuesday in the middle of the day. And she is. I just think that's so awesome. Walking a doggy. I love it. Okay, so what's coming up next is I talk about all of these things and then way more in depth in my program that I'm finally ready to release tonight at midnight, because it's not ready right now at noon, because it's techie and it's fun. So anyways, this is my course coming out. So I've been talking about this for a while, and this is a course for people who are going through divorce or reconciliation, who are in the stages of like, I don't know what we're doing. Marriage is rocky. We might be splitting up. We might be not. Or if you're like, yeah, I've been divorced for a while and like shit still is not good. It's not solid. I'm not feeling great. Like, this will help you a lot. So this is guiding you to peace, clarity, and ease for all stages of divorce and reconciliation. And this is for, like I just said, anyone going through the divorce or considering it, anyone who has been through their divorce and wants more peace and happiness on the other side. Because I have talked to so many people who have like, yeah, it's been years, and then they still have all this animosity built up towards their ex, and they still struggle with co-parenting. And it's like, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. And so also for those who want to heal past relationship wounds and move forward in healthy ways. So it's like, your past doesn't have to be your present, right? Like, we can move on and we can create something new. So this is what you get inside the course. Session 1 is all about decision-making. Help is here. You get clarity on whether to stay or to go, knowledge on how to tap into your inner guidance. So really learning how to trust yourself. With this, I'm not one to say, yes, you should stay in your marriage or yes, you should leave. It's helping you really get solid with trusting yourself and leaning into that. You get new mindset shifts, learn how to heal triggers and upsets, and then nervous system regulation, like we talked about a little bit today. And session 2 is navigating the process with peace. So this is going through the whole divorce process, hand holding when you're at rock bottom, moving stuck emotions throughout our body, identifying and releasing emotions, empathetic and narcissistic energies, where those lie in each person and where those lie in all of us, because we all have that. Parenting through the pain, honing your intuition, and manifestation tips, like we were just talking about a little bit now too. And then session 3 is cleaning up the aftermath, processing the change. This is my favorite one. This is creation mode. This is where you bust through limiting beliefs, coping mechanisms, and self-soothing, inner child healing, maybe dating. We talk about that, some fun stories with that. And then writing your next chapter, what that gets to look like for you. And then session 4 is reconciliation, giving it a chance. So some people, right, they're like, I'm not ready. And I talked about this in a little video I just made too, was like, you go into something, you're like, I think we have to get a divorce, or I think we have to do this. And then a part of you is still holding on. It could be your ego, or it could be like your actual heart. And you're like, I'm not ready yet. So I talk about this, but my ex and I took separate trips. We were supposed to go on the same trip, and we were like in such a volatile state at the moment. I was like, I don't want to fly across the country with you and hang out with you for a week, because you can't even talk to me in our own bedroom. So we took separate trips, I decided to free will it my way. And I was like, yes, we're going to make this work. We're going to try for another month. And he's like, okay, we'll try for another month. And then we ultimately knew like, it's not working, but we tried, try to reconcile it. And so it's just knowing the difference with your heart and your head, and embodying new patterns, because if it is supposed to work out, you will work it out. You will. I have full faith in that. And I have full faith that I was not supposed to with my ex-husband. Otherwise we would have. It's embodying new patterns and letting the old ones die. It's talking about masculine and feminine energies, where those lie in both of us, and where we need to balance some of those out, because a lot of us, dear women, are raised in very, I don't want to say masculine ways, but it's like we were taught that we had to do all this stuff for ourselves and guard our hearts and mother and nurture and be everything and be an entrepreneur and be a mama bear. And like, that's all like super masculine energy. It's not our fault. It just is what it is. But anyways, I love talking about that. And then we talk about manifesting your new relationship together and what that gets to look like for you, and awareness of your soul lessons with that partner, because they are or were in your life for a lot of reasons, a lot of very good reasons. They've been your biggest teacher, probably the biggest pain in your ass, but the biggest teacher, and very, very valuable. Oh, this is not where we are. What happened? Oh, no, hold on. Pause. I don't know what just happened. Sorry, bear with me, technical difficulties. So you guys, it's Mercury retrograde for a little while still. And I'm like, why? I thought I was going to launch this after that happened, but then I did it like right during it. It's just not working out. Okay, some bonuses everyone gets for joining this is, wait. Yeah, that's it. Okay, sorry. Deep diving inner work. So lots of like journaling sessions, lots of really going in and like, what is this? What is going on with you specifically? Looking at, and you'll never look at yourself or the other person the same. Like it will all be completely changed, because before I started doing this, even like during my divorce, I was blaming a lot. I was blaming him. I was blaming myself. I was blaming lots of stuff externally, like his parents, all the things, right? And this has completely shifted how I look at everybody. We do some meditations in there. I have a cord cutting meditation that I just recorded. It's amazing. And then one-to-one email support with me throughout the experience if you have any questions. And then you get access to all updates and content added for life, because I can see myself adding more content into this as we go, because things are always evolving and I'm always learning new stuff. So if this is for you right now, through the month of September, I'm doing $111 off. The price is $1,222 for the course, and you're getting $111 off just for the month of September. So if anybody's watching the replay and this is after September, sorry, no deal, no dice. But anyways, this is basically like a couple hours of a lawyer's time price. So this will save you a lot. And if this is not for you, if you're like, yeah, I'm not in the stage of divorce, thank God, hallelujah. I'm happy for you, truly, truly. But I just want to thank you for being here and just for being a part of my support network. And like, I love you guys so much. I'm not going to say anymore because I will cry, because I'm a crier. But I want to offer you, for referring somebody to me who needs me or needs this information right now in their life, if they either enroll in my course or book a coaching session with me, I want to give you a little $44 coupon off. So if you want a private session with me, you'll get $44 off. And that's just a thank you for referring me to whoever might need me right now. Cause I know there's people my mentor was talking to her yesterday. She's like, Lauren, how many people do you know that are married? I'm like, well, a ton. She's like, what percentage of them are like going through divorce or marriages on the rocks? I'm like, well, like 95% of them. She's like, yeah, exactly. So I know it's not only my circle. I know there's so many people struggling with this right now, and it can be tough, but like, it doesn't have to be, I mean, it is hard. There's no two ways around it, but it can be different. It can be different than what society says it's got to be. So now we have question and answer time. So like, I will open this up. I can even unmute. And then what did I have here? Oh, okay. The next steps. Okay. So does anyone have any questions? Let me see if I can access the chat. I can. If you want, go ahead and unmute yourself because we've got some time. I was nervous on the time, so I kind of flew through some things, but I think we're doing awesome. So we've got a few minutes for this. If anybody wants to ask a question or say something, feel free.
Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Hi. I just thought I'd say hello and maybe get the ball rolling if anybody else wants to feel comfortable after me. I guess I just want to say thank you, Lauren, for sharing all of that. A lot of it is stuff I think I've learned along the way, but it's always awesome to have reminders and have somebody different, you know, sharing their experience and their experience around all of these subjects. I'm definitely on the same journey, not necessarily divorce. Just if you think about relationships in general, I've actually never been married. I am engaged for the first time ever, 41 years old. And how all that developed was a pretty fun story I can share another time. But just having teenagers, having kids, having moments of grief, having them grow, you know, in different directions than maybe what I had hoped for, or I don't know, there's a lot of transition happening for me in this last year and a half, I'd say, and I've grown a ton, and sometimes it's hard to see where you've grown because you're focused on, you know, all the things you haven't done. But I guess I just slowly but surely, you know, recognizing those steps, and it was just nice to be here with you all and kind of just have this moment. I honestly could talk all day, but I guess I just want to, what I want to take out of this is the being brutally honest with yourself. It's really ringing for me through all that you've said. And again, that's something I've been working on every day, you know, and I really like the daily routine thing. That's something I flow in and out of. It's like, oh, I'm on track for a while. And then all of a sudden, like, what, when did I stop doing my morning thing? You know, it just rolled into something else. But life is chaotic and busy, and I'm on a track of more peace in my life, and every day it just gets a little bit better. So, but still chaotic. So it's good to have support, good to have community, and I just appreciate us all being here. So
yes, thank you, Amber. Thank you. It's nice to hear from you. And
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, that's so amazing. Congratulations on your engagement. That is super exciting. And I'm glad. I mean, whenever someone's like, oh, I'm, you know, interested, I'm like, oh, it sucks, but I understand why they're interested in what I'm talking about when it's about divorce. It's like, you know, I feel for you, but it's not fun. But so I'm glad to hear you're on the beginning of that, because that is super exciting. And it is, I don't know, I feel like waiting until you're later, like I was 30 when I got married, and I thought that was it. I'm like, woohoo, I did it. I waited till I was mature. But I feel like there's something to be said getting married later in life, right? And just like you just know so much more about yourself.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Right.
And I wouldn't say any of, you know, all your information, whether it's about divorce or not, it all applies to everything in life, I think. And just, yeah, it's helpful. And I absorb a lot from you online. And so I appreciate all that you do and all you share. And it was really fun to be here today.
Good. Thank you. So good to meet you. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're always welcome in this community. And yeah, it's just, I've met so many wonderful people throughout this whole journey, like all of you here. And it's just exciting what, you know, when you let go of certain relationships that you didn't know were weighing you down, either friends or, you know, romantically and stuff, what comes in, right? Just like the right people always find you at the right time. So Tara, yes, what would you like to say? You were so cute raising your hand, or did you do that on accident? Here.
No, I wanted to. I just wanted to let you know that I think you did an amazing job. I definitely had some takeaways from it. I don't have the relational, but I have the career and the uh the weight. So there's definitely positive things I've took away from it. So I think you did an amazing job, and yeah.
Thanks. Thanks, girl. Well, I appreciate you being here, and it's so fun to watch you be so brave. And you know, it is. I feel like the rugs get pulled out from under us all the time, right? So it's like, how are we going to respond to that? How are we going to respond? We can respond in the old ways and crawl into our bed or watch TV or shut it all out for a while, and whatever. If we have to do that for a little bit, fine. But like, how are we going to get back up? What are we going to do? Right? Like, what are we going to make next? So it's just been so awesome to watch you thrive and get back up. So I love it. I love it, love it, love it. All right. Well, anybody else is free to talk. If you have any questions or any comments, like just raise your hand or whatever. But otherwise, I'm going to just say what's next. So I just want you to journal out anything that really struck you today. So what really resonated? You're like, yeah, okay, that's, you know, right? Sometimes we tune into things and we're like, I don't know, but something hits us, right? So what is that piece that really hits you that you're like, this is something that I know will benefit my life, and I'm going to do this starting today? You know, like Amber, like you said, when you're off and on with the morning routines and stuff, it's like, you notice when your life is getting chaotic again. Okay, when am I feeling scattered again? Right? I know, Angela, we talk about this all the time and stuff. It's like, when are you taking time? Are you in your body? Are you taking time for yourself? And you'll notice when you're not, your whole world gets a little crazy outside of it. So just really just ensuring that you're doing those things for yourself. But anyways, write down the one thing that really stood out to you today. And then I encourage you to work on that and decide what you want to create now. Like, in what area are you going to create better feelings or create better outcomes, create a better story for yourself? And then if you're not, you can follow me on the socials at Lauren Diddle. I spelled my name wrong, but I think you get the point. I think most of you are on my email list, but that's there too. And then, yeah, go get your freebies. So if anybody needs this course, just remember it's $111 off for September. And that is including like anybody you refer to. So if you have a friend and you're like, you need this course, like, here, I'll share it with you. They will get $111 off. You will also get a coupon for a coaching session. And that's just to thank you for being so supportive. And I love you all so much. And I just like appreciate you guys so much. So thank you for being here. And yeah, that's about it. Okay. How do I, hold on.